On January 1, 2026, the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism transitioned into its definitive phase. The system is no longer a reporting exercise, it is an active financial liability. Importers of steel, aluminum, cement, fertilizers, hydrogen, and electricity face a priced carbon cost at the European border, tied to the EU carbon market. Access to the European market now requires audited emissions data, which serves as a technical gate for every covered shipment. The internal EU carbon price and CBAM certificate are strictly synchronized. For the first quarter of 2026, the price is €75.36 per ton. While 2026 imports generate debt immediately, cash settlement is deferred until September 2027. This line chart maps the phase-in schedule. In 2026, only 2.5% of embedded emissions are chargeable, shielded by free allowances. These allowances are withdrawn on a fixed schedule, multiplying effective costs 40-fold by 2034, with a massive jump in 2030. Suppliers should not interpret the modest 2026 charge as a permanent state. Procurement strategies must account for the steep cost increases arriving later this decade. This data matrix identifies the 5 nations projected to bear over half of all CBAM costs by 2030. India faces an 18% share of the total cost due to its heavy reliance on coal-based steel production. For the Gulf and MENA regions, exposure is concentrated in aluminum, fertilizers, and hydrogen, where carbon intensity directly impacts export margins. Because CBAM credits carbon prices paid at origin, exporters from nations without a domestic carbon tax face the full, unmitigated EU price at the border. Compliance requires verified installation-level data. If a supplier cannot provide audited emissions figures, the importer is forced to use conservative default values that are deliberately more expensive. Failure to produce precise data results in an inflation-indexed penalty of €100 per ton of CO2, charged on top of surrendering certificates. The European Commission is already proposing an expansion to 180 downstream products, with chemicals, polymers, and plastics the primary candidates for the next phase. This regulatory model is spreading. The United Kingdom has confirmed its own carbon border tax will go live on January 1, 2027. Precise carbon accounting is now a mandatory trade credential. In a regulated global market, emissions data is a requirement for maintaining market share. Project 54, Revenue Architecture Engineered.